There's lots of opportunities in the RegTech space. We see many, many new startups. We see lots of investments in this. And it goes beyond just the adoption of technologies to facilitate the delivery of regulatory requirements. It looks at how can we make banking for consumers easier, faster, more efficient, and how do we make it easier, faster, more efficient for banks? How do we use less labor? How do we reduce errors? How do we reduce cost and improve our ability to quickly respond to customer needs? There's a kind of a missing link in some ways between technology, which is evolving quickly, and regulation, which often doesn't evolve quite as quickly. Governments aren't necessarily as quick to innovate or modify the rules as technology is to change the rules. And so there's this link between regulation and technology that is sometimes not as strong as it should be. And this is where RegTech comes in and says, can we use tech to help you to comply with regulations better, more efficiently, and overcome the hurdles of regulation? Or can we use regulation to enable new technologies to emerge, develop, and to, so to speak, level the playing field? Just in the software market alone, just the software side of compliance with regulations, in large consulting firms, market analyst firms are looking at this industry and saying this is about roughly 120 billion US dollar market in the US alone for regulatory solutions, compliance assistance, and software. That's a big market. That's a lot of money. And there's a lot of startups in this space looking and saying we could do innovative things for banking clients who have money and would like to be more efficient. So lots of opportunities. Now, let me draw an analogy between fintech and e-commerce. And let me compare RegTech to other kinds of fintech in the sense of an e-commerce analogy that maybe you can relate to. I've been teaching e-commerce for more than 20 years, and it's something that for most of us, we've done transactions online. We know what e-commerce is now. This is not new, and RegTech and fintech seem kind of newer. So let's draw an analogy to something we're more familiar with. Fintech is like the e-commerce that you do as a consumer. Now, there's some of it that's on the wholesale side, but most of it is related to consumer convenience. It's apps on your phone, it's faster, more convenient banking, it's easier loans, it's new ways to connect. And a lot of that is what we call in e-commerce B2C e-commerce. This is reaching out businesses, reaching out to consumers. It's the most visible part of e-commerce. What you may not realize is that the largest part of e-commerce is the supply chain linkages, the supply chain between P&G and Walmart. That's e-commerce also. It's electronic commerce, and it's bigger than the retail side of e-commerce. The supply chain linkages, the electronic transactions happening behind the scenes that are invisible to consumers, are larger than all the Amazons or Amazon equivalents or wannabes in the entire world. And so that kind of back end was quicker to go into e-commerce. B2B e-commerce was quicker, faster, bigger, more money than the consumer side, which took some changes in consumer behaviors and preferences and took longer to adopt. Now, the consumer side affects our lives directly more, but the back end side makes things cheaper, faster, better. When you shop at Walmart, you're leveraging the power of e-commerce because Walmart uses e-commerce to keep their supply chain costs low. So even though you're not doing B2C e-commerce, you're benefiting from efficiencies from e-commerce. And so much the same way RegTech can take traditional banking firms with no front-end changes, no visible changes, nothing you as a consumer would say is any different, and help the bank be faster, better, quicker, And you would say, wow, you know, it used to take 6 weeks to get a loan application through, and now my local branch of my bank can do it in 4 days. That's great. Now, an online B2C firm, business to consumer firm, might do it in 6 minutes. And so you say 4 days is great compared to 6 weeks. It's not great compared to 6 minutes, but you know, I mean, essentially what we're saying is we could do the same requirements, the same regulatory needs, the same structure and protections faster with RegTech, just like B2B e-commerce can make transactions happen in retail stores better, faster, cheaper. So RegTech is big, just like B2B e-commerce is big. It's a lot of money. It's not as sexy, it's not as visible, it's not as easy to relate to as a consumer, but it's what really is powering a lot of the money in fintech. So RegTech matters. Thank you for your time. In our next session, we're going to talk about something kind of related to RegTech, but a different market context, which is in InsurTech. Thank you.